to allocate more funds to political parties so as to strengthen the political parties. You know, political parties, they act and they play a very big role in our government system, and they need to be strengthened. So as one way to strengthen them is to allocate them more funds that they're able to do and run the political parties from the grassroots up to the national headquarters. According to her, there are more than 90 registered political parties in our country. I talked about this the other time, and that yes, in as much there is multi-partyism, there are political parties that don't have the national figure. We need to have 2 or 3 or 5 key and main political parties in our country. That's my opinion, though. That we have many political parties that others actually don't have the national figure. You find that you have a political party, there's only to one local side. As a way to bring unity, we need to have few political parties, maybe 5 or 10 as a country, whereby the dominant political parties will be producing political leaders. Anyway, that's my opinion, but we want to see what will be happening. Now, in the country, we have more than 90 registered political parties, and the current allocation of funds is inadequate. So for the government to be able to allocate funds for all these more than 90 political registered parties, their funds are going to be very inadequate. And we have been funding political parties since 2007, and the Political Parties Act of 2011 allocates 0.3% of the national government revenue to their activities. Hey, this is a little amount. So 0.3 is the only amount that being allocated to political parties since 2007. So now, according to the Article Act of 2011, that allows the government to allocate only 0.3% of the national revenue to the political parties. This money is not going to be enough to fund the political parties. Now, according to the Act, 70% of the fund is distributed based on the total number of votes secured by each political parties in the previous election. Now, what she means here is that now 70% of this amount is not going to be given equally to all political parties, but going to be distributed according to the votes that this political party and membership has. Now, if this political party, like at the moment UDA, has more administrative expenses and the number of nominated leaders, comments at time when some Kenyans are calling for the funding to be scrapped. Other Kenyans are saying that political parties are getting a lot of money. They should not be funded. So that funding should be scrapped and that money meant for other things. We're yet to see what will be happening and what will be bringing that one. Now, during the last disbursement, we want to see at least 45 parties received 1.48 billion from their political parties fund. President William Ruto's UDA received the lion's share for the cash, actually, as we've said. Now, according to the Office of the Register of Political Parties, UDA received 577.2 million, followed by ODM, got 303 million, Jubilee got 135 million, Wiper got 72 million, and Democratic Action Party of Kenya, DAP, which received 31.6 million. Now, according to the National Assembly Register, UDA has all that. So those are more information that I want to read on page 7 of this paper today. Now, moving to page 8, we want to see what's there. Here is about national news, talking about religion, whereby the Muslims are expected to perform Hajj between June 14 and 22 next year. Now, this is another holiday for Muslims. It's another holiday for Muslims that between June 14th next year and 22, there's going to be Hajj performance. Now, SAPCEM announces fresh condition for Hajj pilgrims. So for those pilgrims who believe on this, you're going to read this in page 8 of 68 of the Daily Nation. Now we're moving forward to see the mystery deepening of a trader linked to Somalia's arms deal. Now here there's a probe. It is a probe and robbery. We're going to find it in page 10 of the Daily Nation. What's being there? You're going to read that there's a mystery, the deepening of a trader who was linked to Somalia arms deal. For more than 3 weeks, the family and friends of Zakaria Kamala Sufi, a Mombasa trader linked to the illegal supply of arms to Somalia, have been worried about his whereabouts. Where did he go? His disappearance on September 5th prompted his family to go to the court to demand that the police, who they claim are behind his abduction, produce him. Now, this is very, very worrying, that a suspected trader who has been linked with selling arsenals and arms to Somalia has been caught, taken to police custody, and is now missing. So they should tell us where he is. But remember that everyone has a right, even a right to be taken to court and defend himself. So this one and many others, we are able to going to read them in page 10 of this nation. There's another news here in page 12. Is talking about the diseases. So you are able to read there what's talking about diabetes that's highly underorganized in Africa. So the report from the World Health Organization has said that the change in diets, how we eat, due to higher incomes and urbanization, are believed to be behind in the increase of these cases of diabetes, which has been undiagnosed here in our country. So you're able to go and do there. So for those on doing the tendering, you're going to see there are tenders being advertised by the public in page 13 of the Daily Nation. Now, in opinion poll, here we want to see some of the opinions, what some Kenyans are giving out to be their opinions. Now, how do you silence guns quicker? If you want to read and to be able to understand what's going to be taken there. But I wanted to read this about the reform, subject selection, and not a grading system. We've seen recently that the education system has changed how it's going to grade the performance of students. And this is what we want to see about. Now, the Kenya National Examination Council, that's NEC, is in the process of adapting the recommendation by the President's Working Party on Education to reform to review the grading system it uses to determine the final candidates' mean grades in the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, KCSE. Now, this we've been hearing last weeks and other times. That now the education system want to change out its grading system. How is it going to grade it? That's what we want to see, and the opinion. Now, the KCSE grade will be determined by 7 subjects, 1 best performed language, either English or Kiswahili, mathematics as a compulsory subject, so mathematics is going to remain compulsory, and 5 other best performed subjects. Oh, this will be a good deal. Now that mathematics is only to remain compulsory, optional between any language that you perform well, and other 5 subjects that you perform well. I think this is going to increase the number of students who are going to join universities. Now, and then choose the best performed ones from either the remaining humanities or technicals. The current grading system has faced a lot of criticism from a section of teachers and education stakeholders, as it emphasizes more on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics than the STEM subjects. But I see the review treating the symptoms rather than the disease. The issue is not how the subjects are permutated to constitute the final mean grade, which is the review doing. The issue has always been the disconnect between the subject selection criteria used in secondary school and university subject combination matrix required to enroll in a particular course in what Kenya University KUSSIPS is doing. Now, it is generally acknowledged that it is not enough to score a good mean grade in KCSE. A candidate must also perform well in the 4 cluster subjects required for a particular course, which are used to calculate the KUSSIPS. Now, this is the opinion poll that someone has given in page 14, giving his own opinions how to do it. Still in opinion section in page 15, you went to see how to enhance efforts to boost the safety of university students. So there are letters there. I'm going to read them, but I'm going to move here to talk about the World Habitat Day 2023. Now, resilient urban economics. Cities are drivers of growth and economy. How do they take care of our habitat? How do we take care of our habitat? Now, Kenya has a huge housing need. We have a need to sort out our housing programs. And how are we to do that? Now, the annual demand is 250,000 units, yet only 50,000 homes are built. So you find here we are even underperforming. That the target is we should be having 250,000 homes units every year, but every year we only are able to perform 50,000 homes, now allowing the housing deficit to grow by 200,000 units per year. So this deficit continues to rise due to fundamental constraints on both the demand and supply side, because of the increase in population and by urbanization. We find that the rate at which people are moving from rural areas to towns is increasing. Now, this one is the one that brought to this challenge of houses. Now, you can see this is a house. I don't know this someone in his house before. Hey, Kenyans are really suffering. Find out that someone stays in this house, and through maybe hard work, and now we change to this housing program. This is something good, that initially you have this house here, and then by moving maybe and looking for a job, so this is a house made by sticks and polythene papers, and a human being in 21st century sleeps what we can equivalent to caves. As a country, we don't expect that up to now, an independent country, we can have Kenyans. I know there are many. I know there are many who are staying in such houses. The government should work out to sort out the housing system. And then now this is the modern one that she's even living in. You can see even her health has changed. She's even looking healthy and even better. Now, that's what's being discussed about there. And if you want, you'll be reading more about it and to understand it more and more. Now, that's page 15. We have page 16 there, 17, talking about the World Habitats Day. Now, there's something here in Mombasa. What's happening in Mombasa about the port being privatized? Heard about why Mombasa is the ideal host of the National Habitat Ceremony. Now, this gives us the reasons as why many residents from Mombasa County are having challenges there. If you go to page 20, you want to see the county news, where the EACC to probe use of over 100 billion by Nanok regime. this governor for Turkana is being said, but he used a lot of billion. So you'll be reading more about Nanok in that page 20 of 68. Seeing in Nakuru County, the court has nullified all the transactions and cancelled illegal entries in the lands registry. This is about corruption. Anti-graft agency successfully sues to get back grabbed lands in Nakuru County. So be reading that and that more there. So there are world news celebrating Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary. This one we must read. This is Mahatma Gandhi. Do you know who he is? Do you know what Mahatma Gandhi did? My producer. Do you know what Mahatma Gandhi did? And what are some of his famous quotes? So we are celebrating his birthday. And we're going to see that is bringing what Mahatma Gandhi did. And some of his famous quotes. Visitors pause in front of a statue of Mahatma Gandhi inside a park on the eve of Gandhi's birthday anniversary. So today ndio siku ya kuzaliwa ya Mahatma Gandhi. So we have the business sector here for those who are following business sectors. Now the harvest time for maize. It's time Kenyans are harvesting, and more of those news. And to read them in pages 24 for the business news. Be reading the properties, everything there, and there, and there, and there. To talk about sports a little bit before we finish this thing. Death and funeral announcements. Now we are in the sports. Yesterday we saw Shabana FC, Tore Bobe hapa nchini Kenya wakienda draw na timu gani? Na AFC Leopards kwenye uwanja wa Ulinzi Complex Stadium. Pale kwa athletics tunaona Kenyans rule the world as the curtain falls for the world athletics. So Kenyans are performing well in this sector ya kutoka mbio. Chebet, Jepchir, Chil and Saway. So this Chebet and her coach, they're celebrating and serving the exact new offering of the World Athletics Series menu. Wanafurahia yale mageni ambayo yameweza kuletwa pale. Pale tunaona kwamba motivated by Kenyans, gold rush. Wale wa Kenya ambao waliweza kukimbia na kupata dhahabu, gold, wakatupea gold kwa our country. Pale chini kuna mchezo ya golf. Wale ambao mnapenda kufuatilia, you can go there and read what's happening. You can be seeing this and that. Taelewa vizuri nini kinachoendelea pale. Tunaona weekendi pale EPL, Manchester United wakifanya vibaya sana, wakiweza kushindwa na timu nyingine tena. Gumboots, what do you know about gumboots? What do you know about gumboots? Do you wear gumboots? When? There's an intervention corner here about gumboots, also known as Wellington boots. Actually, I've never known. I've known it today. Were designed for military purposes, not farming. Hey. Arthur Wesley, the Duke of Wellington, wore Hessian boots to war together with his soldiers. The Hessian boots were tall, soft, calf-skin boots with tassels that provided minimal protection. In the early 1800s years, the Duke decided to modify the traditional Hessian boot for both practical and stylistic reasons. He instructed his shoemaker, Hobby of St. James Street in London, to alter the design. The resulting boot had a lower heel, about an inch, and was also cut to fit more closely around the leg, stopping a mid-calf. This design provided better protection and was suitable for both riding and informal evening wear. Oh, so this is the history of boots. I never knew that, but now we've known what happens there. High schooler, if you are high school, what you need to know. Plot. Now this is the end of today's paper as we've discussed it all through. Now back to you who've been following all through for today morning news. We want to thank you for getting time and joining us all through. I have been yours, Emmanuel Bosire. Thank you again till we meet again tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye.